myself at home with my kids there and everything. Anyways, long story short with that, I eventually came to terms when my husband's father drank himself to death while he was working away. And it was a really big eye-opener to me that, well, I already knew alcohol was the devil, having come from a family of alcoholics. My dad's an alcoholic, sober, but alcoholic nonetheless. And I knew that I had to change. So I just started replacing that one vice with another vice. And I started exercising and started seeing things happening. I was doing my own thing for a really long time, and I was told about this group that I could join. And it was this community of helpful people who were all traveling their journeys, and they were all doing these programs. But I was bound and bent. I was going to stick with the elliptical, and I was going to lift my weights, and that's what I did. And I had great changes, but people in this group were having better changes. And they were all doing combat. That's what my coach was doing. So anyways, in this group, and I didn't know anything about Beachbody at the time, I saw them doing this. So I messaged her one day and said, like, number one, I've been drafting a lot of messages from a lot of people asking me what I'm eating and what I'm doing for exercise. And at the time I wasn't doing any programs, but I said to her, I've been thinking about opening a Facebook group to help support these people, but I kind of get the impression that you're running a business here. And she validated that and said, yes, I'm actually a coach. And so you could be opening up a Facebook group. She was a brand new coach at the time too. You could be opening up a Facebook group, but also earning money. She said, for example, you see these people doing combat. Every time somebody buys the combat program, I make 25% commission. And I was like, oh, okay. And she told me about Shakeology, and I was not interested. Anyways, ended up getting this challenge pack, signed up to coach the same day, opened up a Facebook group, and the rest was history. My husband had told me at the beginning, I mentioned, I was thinking about doing this coach thing and helping other people. And he said, Alida, it's going to make working out turn into a job, and it's not going to be fun anymore. So I want you to think about that, and I'm cautioning you against it. And against his judgment or advice, I signed up behind his back and I started doing it. And lo and behold, it has turned into work, but work that is going to retire him. We see that in the very near future. And obviously he now believes in the coaching opportunity. He told me I would let go from my job while he was gone away. And during those first few months of coaching, I started in March, and in April, I was let go from my full-time job while on maternity leave, which is entirely illegal. So they gave me a nice little settlement package. And my husband told me that if by the time my settlement package was up, which was 6 months, I got 6 months pay. If I made enough to cover my EI, so that was $804 every 2 weeks, I could stay home and I wouldn't have to find a full-time job. So I had that number on my horizons. It was $403 every week that I had to make. And I did it. And I never went back to work. And that was the first goal. And then the second goal, with my husband working away, he was supposed to work away for 1 year, and it ended up being 3 years, which was really hard. And we moved even further across country. We moved another province away. Again, raising 2 kids by myself. I had this goal in my mind. I wanted him to get a job so that he could be home and he could feed our kids supper every night, and he could be there to put our kids to bed, and we could do this whole parenting thing together, and I could have my partner back. Because lo and behold, truth be told, my husband working away for 3 years, I ended up having the best of both worlds. Not only was I exercising now, I was also drinking myself to sleep every night again. Isn't that nice? No. Anyways, I had another goal, and my goal was to offset the income. Working up north in Canada, you make like $200,000 a year. So my husband was making $200,000 a year. And to come back and work where we were locally, he would have to take a pay cut to like $50,000 to come home. So my goal at that point was to make enough with my coaching business so that my husband could come home from working up north and we could still sustain our quality of life with all of the things that we had, our cars and our house, and have my husband home every night. And he was offered a job a year ago last month in Ontario, which would bring us back to our home province. And we did it. My husband is now home every night, and that was because of coaching. It was because of this opportunity that I now get to go to bed and wake up every morning with my husband. And I'm now the breadwinner in our family, and we're set to retire Sean in about a year. I'm a year longer than I had hoped. But I was never driven by money. As you know, as I mentioned, like people were asking me about what I was doing. So I genuinely wanted to help them. And I feel so strongly about this one thing that I'm going to say is any time in this business when I stopped focusing on genuinely caring about other people and really leading with heart and wanting to help them change their lives from the inside out, I lost everything. Every time I get caught up in a sale, every time I get caught up in shooting for a rank or shooting for an income level, everything falls apart. The sales stop happening, the relationships start sucking, and it just all starts crumbling. So I want you to remember that one thing. If you're out there pushing for Success Club and you start pushing for points and pushing for sales, it's so easy to lose sight of the multi-level helping company. That's ultimately what we're out there to do, is to help end the trend of obesity. And that is a relationship building process. And that is a people building business. And it is about really investing your heart in those people and listening to what they need, asking them why they want to change. Okay, totally not what I was going to talk about. But I always forget to tell my own story. So that's my story. I want to talk about being authentically you and learning who you are so that you can start attracting your ideal customer and coach to you. I've always been asked, so Alida, what does your invite process look like? And the truth is that I don't invite people. I've never had to. I don't cold message people, and I don't invite people to join things. People message me and ask me, how can I do what you're doing? And I think that that's a really cool thing to be able to get to in your business, is to be able to, I guess, establish trust just through the way that you post on social media. People feel like they know who you are and they relate so deeply to you based on what you're sharing that they feel like you're their best friend, but they don't even know you. So does that make sense? Like, posting and being authentically you on social media is something that I'm so passionate about. And especially over the last year, I've really learned a lot about it. I've learned a lot about myself in the last year, the last 6 months even. Mandy, we've both been learning a lot about ourselves. It has been a wicked shitstorm, let me tell you, over the last 6 months of my life. Sorry, I swear a lot. I'm trying really hard to use my filter. You guys are like you guys don't swear a lot, right? I'm pretty sure you don't. Yeah, you're pretty conservative, right? Okay, I swear like a trucker. So excuse me when they fly. I am really trying to put on a filter. I don't really have one. I've worked in the construction industry despite going through to be a teacher. But I worked in construction and I am a trucker. Okay. So okay, good. In a coaching business of like 300,000, I think we're probably like 400,000 now. It's so important for you to just be who you are. And it's one of the hardest things to accept is yourself in this world, in life. I mean, we hear noise everywhere of how we should be, what we should do. And it's like, fuck the noise. You know, who cares how we should be? Why can't we just be us and embrace who we are and share the shitstorm of life that happens and be appreciated and loved for it? You know, when I start sharing about the stuff that goes on in my life and like how I start having anxiety attacks and panic on Sunday because the week is about to start and it's like I need groceries and I got to do the laundry and I have stuff to get for the lunches and the instant panic sets in. It's like my feed blows up with all these women who are just like me. So I feel like I post about and talk about the things that other people think. So I just say them out loud. Again, goes back to my whole not having a filter. But I think when you take the time to actually learn who you are, what makes you tick, and write it down on paper so that you can really see yourself on a piece of paper, you're better able to target your posts to the people who are just like you, to those people who are going to want to change and be like you. So what makes you tick? What makes you you? People who are like you are going to want to join you. They're going to be attracted to what it is that you're saying because they're like you. So knowing who you are in my opinion, is the single most important thing to establish in this coaching business. I don't care if you know about a program. I don't care if you're good at talking to people. Do you know who you are? And can you talk about it? So, talking to the old you and the present you are both really crucial points in this. So, if you can think back to where you were and who you were before you became a coach or when you first started this journey. For me, I was a serial quitter. I would start and I would go for 2 weeks and then I would quit. I would start to see those results and it just enough to get me to go to that 2 weeks. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is so awesome. Oh, I don't want to go anymore. So when I post sometimes, I'll start a post with, I used to be a serial quitter. And instantly people see that and they're like, oh, I'm a serial quitter. I start everything and I never stop. And I never stick with it. So those phrases, what are those phrases that you would often say as the old you? I don't have any time. I don't have any time to work out. So lead your post with, I don't have any time. That's what I thought too. These little catchphrases that you used to say before you eventually committed to doing this are so influential in your ability to reach people who are like you or who were like the old you, or even who are like the current you. I have a whole list of things that you can ask yourself that will help you to establish putting down on paper things that you can start thinking about in order to establish who you are as a person and then be able to target your posting for that ideal audience. So how do you want people to feel when they come to your page? What kind of emotions do you want them to feel when they come to your page? We have to be careful sometimes between differentiating between shaming, right? Making people feel guilty, making people feel accepted. You want them to feel like they're on the same level as you, not that you're better than you or that you're better than them or any kind of dichotomy. You want it to be on the level playing field. You want to think about how old they are. What are they into? Are they a husband? Are they a wife? Are they a full-time working professional? Are they single? Do they have children? What are the things that you can talk about in your posting that are you? Are you a mom? Are you a wife? Who are you? What do you like? What are your hobbies? What are you into? Are you into organizing? Because there's a shit ton of people out there who need help with organizing. Are you working on your marriage? I think marriage is one that can often be discussed. So many people need help in their marriage and don't understand like the 5 love languages, and they're so critical and they're so foundational to a healthy marriage. If anybody is married, they're going to eat that up. They want to know how to have a better relationship and have more sex, don't they? Be happy in their marriage. Talk about it. What do they value? What do they believe in? So without getting too political, what kind of music do they like? What kind of fashion are they into? You can alter and tailor your posts to talk about things that you're into, that you're interested in, and other people are going to eat it up. And those people are going to be attracted to you, and it can open up a door for conversation that relates to fitness and nutrition. You post about gardening. You can post about your dog. You can post about your recipes, or that you're a chocoholic and you're masking your brownies with brown beans, or what is it? Black beans. People cook with black beans. I'm not a sweet tooth. I'm a salt tooth. So I talk about salt and how I can add feta cheese to anything to give me that salt effect, because I'm a salt tooth. Think about who your audience is in their current life. Are they content? Are they spending their time and their energy the way that they want to be spending it? Do they feel fulfilled? For me, a lot of my audience are moms who feel overworked, underappreciated, and they give so much that they feel ultimately depleted. They have nothing left. They give, and then they end up in an epic meltdown, feeling utterly alone, feeling depressed, and feeling empty, feeling like they have nothing left for themselves. They have nothing left to, my daughter's back. Honey, it's really late and we have a big day tomorrow, okay? I need you to go into your bed, please. Finish up, okay? 10 more minutes. I'm on a call. You need to close the door, please. A lot of them just feel so empty. And And I think that that's something that a lot of moms can relate to. So how can you talk about fitness and nutrition and the way that it has the ability to bring you that mental clarity or that sanity or that escape from being a mom? And not that being a mom isn't great, but holy hell, it's a hard job. It is. It's taxing. And so is being a coach, and so is being a wife. All of these things are taxing. And every area of your life can totally suffer if you're not investing in yourself and giving back to yourself, right? Thank you. I try to cover it up sometimes. It's funny because I go to school pickup and I have my hair all down, and this side, I'm like the straight-laced mom, and then bam, I'm the badass one. I have like a split personality. Anyway, thank you. I think when you're able to talk about those things that just make you so relatable to other people, for me, like my world just opened up when I started talking about anxiety and depression. My whole world opened up when I finally admitted that I have a serious problem with mental health, and that I had to give up alcohol because it would have a fatal interaction with my drugs. And I came out and said that I was on medication. People, like, my inbox exploded, and that resulted in so many people who were like, you know what? Now that I know this, I understand why you work out. I know, and I need to do it. I need to do it because I need to fix my mind, and I need a better way to release that tension and that energy. And I didn't know that it was going to open that door for me. I didn't know that it was going to open, not only those conversations help me pull myself out of the anxiety and depression by talking about it, but I'm also giving back to those people, helping them out of their anxiety and depression. And we can share a mutual interest and passion for fitness. You know, who knew? But I took a chance, and I shared something that was really dark and vulnerable and raw. And so many people are like, oh my God, you're opening up and you're breaking the silence about something that has such a stigma associated with it. All of these times I thought I was a freak. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was alone. I thought I wasn't normal. And the more that I see you post about it, the more I'm like, wow, she's successful and she's on meds and has a psychiatrist. Maybe I can be successful. You know what I mean? Like, people put these barriers on themselves because they think that they suck at life, or they have all of these limitations in their life. But the reality is, you're like them and they're like you. But if you can be relatable to them and show them that they can get into this fitness and nutrition thing just like you, with all of life's shitstorm of being a busy mom and a busy working professional and a person with anxiety or depression or whatever it is that they're struggling with, if you can talk to those people, they're going to be attracted to you and they're going to start conversation with you. I have a worksheet that might, can I show you this worksheet? I'm going to share my screen for a minute. So this is something, your brand and your ideal customer, some of you may have seen this before. I have my coaches do this. So look at other pages. How do you want people to feel when they come to your page? Demographics. What are their values and their beliefs and their hobbies? What are their favorite books, TV shows, magazines, blogs, Facebook pages, Pinterest boards? So what is your ideal client into in her free time? What's her fantasy vacation? Who is she now? Is she content with her life? Does she spend her time and energy in a way she wants to? Does she feel fulfilled? Does she spend time thinking outside the moment? I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll be happy when I have more money. I'll be happy when... Hey, Mom. Who does she want to be? How does she want to be different? So, and then go deep. What are her fears? What does she worry about? What does she lose sleep about at night? You know, these are things that you can talk about. What do you lose sleep at night? You know, you can talk about the fact that I used to lay in bed and I would hold on to my stomach and I would think, tomorrow, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to do this tomorrow. And tomorrow would come and go and I would go to bed the next day. And I would hold those same rules on my stomach. And I would feel like a failure. And I would wake up the next day. And today's that tomorrow that I thought about yesterday. And every night I would go back to bed again. And I still didn't start. You know, I would worry. I would worry that day would never come. I would fear that I would just keep getting bigger and bigger and hating myself a little bit more and feeling less and less sexy and I would be less appealing to my husband. I worry about money. I stress about money and I stay up at night. You got to talk to these people and open up the doors and the avenues for communication, because we're people. What does she secretly wish was true about her situation? What has she already tried but didn't have results with? What are 3 questions she asks herself over and over, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's this worksheet that I can share with you, if that would be of value. And then other things that I have my coaches do is create a different list. So what makes you different from every other coach out there in this big, bad coaching world? Because the reality is that you can post the same stuff as every other coach, but what sets you apart? You know, are you vegan? Are you a mom of 4? Do you work full time? Are you a serial quitter? Do you have anxiety and depression? What sets you apart that can make you different than every other coach? And I think that you might learn a little bit about yourself going through that process. Has anybody done anything like that before? Like actually gotten it down on paper to learn about who you are? So is this exercise, again, something I can send, Mandy, I'm not sure if you have a copy of it or not, the branding a different list, and then the sample avatars. I can share that folder with you guys. And it's an exercise of actually creating an avatar. Let me just show you an avatar. What an avatar looks like. I'm just going to open one up. So I have my coaches do something like this. I'm just going to open it up first. Okay. So with the different list, I have them actually pick a picture that looks like their person. Like, who are they talking to? So this person called her person Lee. And this is actually like what you're doing is creating this avatar. This is you, right? You're picking you. And this is going to help you to create your how you're going to target all of your posting to talk to your typical client. So this coach is 20 to 35 years old. She's already into healthy living. She has a positive outlook. She believes in the law of attraction. She's looking for a plan B. She embraces change. She's an expert time manager. She gives everything 210%. So she's an overachiever. She's self-motivated and she looks for answers on her own. She's a team player. She desires to have more time in her life. University or practical schooling is what she's into. She wants to live a life by design. She loves food and lives by the 85-15 rule. She loves to read, especially PD. She appreciates clean lines, has a rocking Instagram. She's outgoing and not afraid to take chances. She's a doer. Spiritual and religious. She wants to travel. She wants to be debt-free. She loves fitness wear but appreciates dressing up. Has a smile that lights up a room and a positive attitude that impacts those around her without her even knowing it. So that's an example of how you can already see how you can start tailoring posts to talk to people just like this. So you post about how you eat by the 85-15 rule. You talk about wanting to travel. You post about things like, if you could go on one trip and you had to pick between A, B, C, or D, what would you pick? You know, and just people who are into traveling are going to start filtering into your life because they're seeing that you're into travel. And they're like, whoa, she's kind of cool. I kind of like her. She's kind of like me, you know? So that's, again, something else that I can send to you. And the girls who have done it, my coaches who have done it, are seeing a really great return, and they're understanding more who they are and how they can start posting to talk to people who are like them. And they're like, whoa, all these people who are like me are coming to me. It's pretty neat. And that's going to change too as you change. Your avatar will always change. But it's just something that I find is helping. Does anybody have any questions? I'm just going to check in the chat. No. Okay. I guess I wanted to share a video when I started and I totally didn't. Oh, that makes me so sad. It's like a minute and a half too. Darn. That's a really good one. I just find like a lot of people in this business start out and they say they want to give coaching a try, right? I'm going to try it. So they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Sorry, my nose ring is totally hanging down. I'm not picking my nose. Well, kind of am. They start out with this coaching thing and they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And it's like, I'm going to give this coaching thing a try. So something happens, and let's say they post and they get no likes and they get no comments. They have two ways of looking at it. They can look at it as deposited proof that this coaching thing doesn't work, or they can look at it as an opportunity to sharpen and improve their skills. How can I post this in a way that might actually bring someone to look at it? How can I make this talk to someone who's like me? How can I get that person who's sitting on the couch thinking about losing weight, but really not sure that they can do it, to get up off their ass and do it? How can you do that? How can you post it? Anybody can lead a horse to water, but it takes something special to inspire them to drink. How are you going to inspire that person who desperately needs someone to believe in them more than they believe in themselves, to get up and to create a change? They need you. I wish that I had that person. I wish that I had changed before 3 years ago. I could have had so much more life, you know? But I feel so passionately about sharpening and tweaking your skills. You know, the reality is that 70% of coaches quit. They do. Because it takes work. It takes effort. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it and everybody would be a freaking millionaire. It's not true. It's hard. It takes a lot of effort, and it takes time, and it takes investment, and it takes heart, and it takes really caring. The money that you make in this business is a direct reflection of the number of lives you change. You can't give up on yourself, because then you're giving up on everybody else too. And you can be that ray of hope. You can be that light for someone who's ready to give up on themselves. You can be a second chance for somebody. You can give them the opportunity to create the change that they desperately want to create. All it takes is little tweaks in the way that you post, little tweaks in the way that you talk to people, little tweaks in your conversation. Like, I know it can be hard sometimes to talk to somebody and they have objections and they want to buy the program, but you know that they have such bad digestive problems, and you know that they have anxiety, and you know that they're struggling with all these different nutrition things. You know that they would benefit from Shakeology. But every time that you broach the challenge pack, you just get another no. Are you going to give up? Or are you going to reach out and say, guys, this is my conversation. I have this girl, blah, blah, blah. You post in your team page and you say, how can I post this so that it might relate a little bit more to her and she might see how much I actually care about her. Something that I've been working on with my coaches is exactly that, is having conversation. And I'm learning that a lot of my coaches, they do lead with heart, but they don't slow the conversation down as much as I do. They, like, if somebody just says, I'm curious about the 21-day fix, can you tell me a little bit about it? They're very quick to jump in and just say, well, it's a color-coded container system aimed at portion control, and it's going to help you to lose weight and to create a new habit in 21 days. I don't even go there. I'm like, whoa, back the truck up. That is awesome. I'm so glad that you're excited in the 21-day fix. But first, I want to know a little bit more about you. Tell me, what makes Tammy tick? I want to know, number one, why you want to change. What's got you interested in the 21-day fix? Ask questions. Slow them down. Get to know them. Take the time, right? And invest in them. Get to know them and really open up a dialogue. It's so easy for us to just shoot back numbers and facts and information without ever asking them why. And if you just ask a simple question, why, it could open up an insane floodgate. You could find out that this person has been dealing with an eating disorder since they were born, because their mom had this bad self-image and food was the devil, and you were constantly told that you had a big ass, and so you're always looking in the mirror and you're cutting yourself up and you're so critical that you're measuring every little bit of food that goes into your body, and you feel like you can only eat 3 small meals. Like, it could have such a terrible relationship with food. But you would never know that. You would just recommend the 21-day fix, right? Yeah, it's a great program. It's a great system. Here you go. But if we back the truck up and we say, wait a minute, Tammy, tell me a little bit more about you. What's your experience with fitness? And I want to know a little bit more about your nutrition. I know for me, I used to be the girl who drank coffee until 1 o'clock, and then I would eat. And then, I would eat lunch around 1 o'clock, and then I would eat a dinner around like 7:30, 8. And then, same thing day after day. And I didn't understand, I wasn't eating a whole lot. So why was I gaining weight? Why wasn't I losing weight? And then I started learning, if you start opening up and asking questions and relating to people and being you and sharing you, but asking a lot of questions, be surprised at how much actually happens. The challenge pack will sell itself, really, if you take the time to slow it down. Like, if somebody asks me, like, you post about something and they're like, price? I'm like, that's so rude. That's so rude. I'm a person. Don't just ask me how much it costs. Ask me what kind of group I run. I want to get to know them and I want to slow it down. So I'm doing a lot of conversation sharing right now. I started a pod with my coaches for June Life Changers Club with my PS coaches. And so I'm trying to get down to the bottom of why they're having these hangups, why they can't transition their coaches. Like, they're always saying, like, I can't get a sale for the life of me. Well, first of all, it's not about sales, but now I'm understanding, because I'm getting them to share, like, so I might make them not lose a customer, but I want to see what this person asked and how they replied, and I'll have them send that in a message pod. And then I'll go back and say, okay, this is how I would reply. And I'm showing them how I would reply with all my verbiage, which takes a lot of time, but it's a lot more. And they're like, oh, I see now. I just have to take a step back a little bit, and I have to change the way I'm talking about it. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but this is 3 years in. I've learned a lot along the way. Like, I've done the face plant, learned from my mistakes, and I see now how it's different. But it's really interesting to start digging into those conversations and seeing why the hangups are happening. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, if we want to sell it, if we want Success Club points come from the successful ability to communicate what the challenge pack is and the value that's associated with the challenge pack instead of just the program. And that comes from perfecting your conversation skills, right? So you can throw in the towel and say that this coaching thing doesn't work and deposit it as proof, or you can tweak your conversation skills and work on it and present it in a different way and have such a better rate of return. It does take a little bit more investment, though. I don't know. Should I keep going? Should I just keep talking? Should we have a conversation?
You're great. Keep going.
What else can I talk about? I feel like I already talked about what I needed to talk about. What are other things that I'm doing with my team right now? So I built my whole business pretty much on Green Means Go. And I notice, since my husband's been home for a year now, like, I used to put my kids to bed and I would work from 8 o'clock until 1 o'clock in the morning. I put them to bed and I would work. I would have my team call from 8 to 9 or something. And then I would work. And what work was for me was opening up the chat box on Facebook and just talking to people. I would just talk. That's it. Just talk. And I haven't done that in a year since my husband came home. My inbox is still full all the time, but I wasn't reaching out to people. I wasn't doing what I did to build my business. And as such, I wasn't communicating that to my coaches, right? And that's how I built my whole business. So I overlooked how I built my entire business and failed to communicate to that to my coaches. So this is only 2 weeks ago, I started doing Green Means Go time with my team. So they have to set aside however much time they have. If they're full-time working people, their time is going to be very different from somebody who's a stay-at-home mom, right? So my nose is starting to leak. I don't know why. It's weird. So weird. But Green Means Go, I have my coaches now identify a time period. So if it's 20 minutes, that works for them. For me, sometimes I'll do it for an hour or 2 hours. And I sit down and I just open up the chat. I go online, I open up the chat, and I just scroll. It's all alphabetical now. And you just scroll and just start messaging people. But first I go to their profile and I scroll their profile and I see what they've been up to. And then I send a quote unquote, hey girl message. So I've actually copy and pasted a whole bunch of hey girl messages into a document for my team in this. It's a sample conversation team directory that I have. So I have different folders for like, hey girl messages, for, I haven't compiled this one yet, but I have a folder for it. Like a friend request or accept one. So like people always say, what do you say when somebody accepts you as a friend? So I'm trying to copy and paste all of those different ways that I thank people for adding me and what I say. Messages like how I present Beachbody On Demand, how I present the free coaching link, so to join my accountability group but not buy anything, how I talk about everything really. If I'm having a conversation, I try to copy and paste it into a folder somewhere so that they can see how I'm talking about things. So just sample hey girl messages. And I always say, well, you got to invite. You just got to message 3 people a day. Just message it. And people are like, just message 3 people a day. What do I say? I don't know what to say. And I'm like, you're overthinking it. You just go to their profile and you're like, hey girl, saw you went camping on the weekend. We've been talking about going camping. Is there something that you know that is like a must have for a camping site? It looks like you guys are like avid campers. Fill me in. That's it. Hey girl message. Easy peasy. Start a conversation. That's it. And then conversations typically flow. And if you've been posting consistently on your profile page, they're seeing your shit. They know you're into fitness and nutrition. Typically, they're going to ask you about it, or somehow you can segue the conversation into it. Or if they're struggling in their life somehow, you know, like, I'm having such a hard time, you know, I'm so exhausted and I feel so depleted and drained and the kids are just, I feel like I never have any time for me. So when you're having your conversation, you say, you know what, I totally feel the same way. Do you use anything as an outlet? Like, do you do anything for yourself? Do you ever escape and have something positive that you can, you know, feel good about yourself with? No, you know, I've been thinking about X, Y, Z, and like, I don't know, how do you cope with it, Alida? Dude, I freaking work out. I pound the shit out of the air and it just makes life better. And they're like, I should really pound the shit out of the air too. And before you know it, there they are buying Les Mills Combat and they're doing it, you know. You can open doors to conversations so easily if you stop focusing on the sale and you stop focusing on it being like something that it doesn't have to be, and just be authentically you and have a conversation. And then just by having a conversation, you can open up so many doors. So green means go time is really important in my group. And people will be like, it's go time. It's go time, bitches. And they'll be like, green means go. It's go time. Who's going? And people will start posting green means go. And it's really fun. They're starting to, and it's something I totally overlooked. I forgot that I built my entire business chatting in the chat box on Facebook. It's true. True story. Totally forgot. But that's really fun. Really fun. I'm doing it again now, though. I'm doing green means go time. And I'm really enjoying it. I went to bed the other night and I thought, I so miss this, Sean. We have an agreement now. Like, I've been taking I stopped working. I have a nanny, right? So when my nanny leaves, I'm a mom. And then I'm a mom and I don't work all night. And then I don't work on the weekends so much because my family's here. And Sean's like, honey, the people need you, though, in the evening and on weekends because that's when they're not working. So let's make this work. So I'm like, okay. On these days, mommy's going to just have dinner and mommy's going to go back to work all night. So we're making sacrifices. And that's something that I've always had to do, is to make sacrifices. Like, I feel like a lot of people are really quick to say like, oh, well, I can't make a team call because it's dinner time. I can't do this because it's dinner time. I can't do this because it's this time. I can't do this. It's going to take sacrifice to have success in this business, no question. I've never missed a team call, ever. I've been puking in a bucket with my video turned off when I was 9 months pregnant. I hosted a team call 2 days after I had my baby. I did. I got home the night that I had my baby. I had my baby at 5:22 p.m. and I was onboarding a coach at 8:05. I was home from I had a midwife, but I was home from the hospital, and I was onboarding a new coach while my husband was changing a diaper and was working. And it just, I work online. I work on my phone, so it's not like I wouldn't be just creeping Facebook anyway. So I might as well onboard a new coach, right? But like, dinner time team calls are 1 night a week. So you can make it work. And you guys are here. Hell, we changed the time on you. So you're here. It just, you get out of this what you put into it. And if you want to make it a full-time career thing, and you have an incredible leader in Mandy. Like, this girl, you went 2-star diamond in what, like 30 days or something? I don't even know. I have admired her from the day that she started. Like, she came out and I was like, oh, that girl is a shining star. And I even sent you that message, didn't I? I was like, oh, I'm watching you. You're incredible. And I know that it takes grit and it takes tenacity and it takes continuing to push when you feel like you've got nothing left. And sometimes you're like, is it really worth it? Do I really want to do this? Is it really coming back? Am I getting out of it what I'm putting into it? I feel like I'm getting now, 3 years later, like the money I'm making now is a direct reflection of the hard work that I did 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Like, it's the foundation. I busted my ass. I fit coaching into the cracks of my life, and I did what it took. And I invested and I learned and I reached out and I tried to tweak and perfect. And I may not be the fastest growing coach, but you know what? All I wanted to do was stay home. I didn't want to go back to work, and I wanted to make $403 every week. And here I am, you know? So if that's not, when I get caught up in that, oh my gosh, like so-and-so started after me and now she's a 10-star diamond, and oh my God. And how come I'm not getting this and getting that? Like, comparison is the ultimate thief of joy. I don't even go to thank you. I don't even go to any coach's feeds anymore, honestly. I can't. I used to go, I'm going to cry again. I used to go to people's feeds before I went to bed every night, and I would scroll them. Then I would go to bed feeling like a piece of crap. Like, I wasn't good enough. Like, so-and-so posted this. So-and-so posted that. I need to post more of this. I need to post more of that. It robbed me. It robbed me of everything. I felt like I was sucking at coaching life. I felt like I was sucking as a wife. I was sucking as a mom. I was sucking at life. And that's what it did. It sucked the life out of me. I don't do it anymore. And when we went to New Orleans, the anxiety that I was experiencing was directly related to coaching, because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like all the other coaches were doing so much more and so much better than me. They were doing this, they were doing that. But they're not me, and I'm not them. I'm going to rock the shit out of what I'm good at, and they can rock the shit out of what they're good at. I think I went there, and there was another coach there who knew everything about all of us. She had looked up what our kids' names were, who we were. She knew everything about us. And I was like, I don't know who your husband is. I don't know who your kids are. I don't know anything about you. And I started having anxiety about it. But then I was like, I'm really glad that I don't go to these other coaches' pages anymore. Because when I stopped doing that, I started just being me. And when I'm myself, my business works. It doesn't matter what anybody else posts, because my people don't like those people. My people like me. So I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. I'm doing me, and me is just fine. I'm going to rock the shit out of me, imperfections and all. I am so excited. Mandy, look what I just got in the mail.
Oh, awesome.
I am so excited to learn how to embrace every single one of my imperfections and flaws. Like, I'm not going to bed tonight. I'm going to read this, and I'm going to learn to love myself and all my imperfections. Oh, I cannot wait to read this. I am a junkie. Yeah. Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. I don't need to be like any other coach out there. I just need to be me and do me. And that's good enough. I am good enough. So I don't know if any of you get caught up in the comparison of the thief of joy thing. Frig, I think we all do. And I think you're lying if you don't do it, quite frankly. I think you're totally lying. But it can steal life. It can steal life right out from under your feet, and it can make you want to quit, just like this. Coaching. This job is hard, but it's freaking amazing. Amazing. I don't know. I'm done. I'm not going to talk anymore. I got to finish my shake.
Well, thank you so much, Alida. It was just amazing. And I think that there's a lot to be said for you not sending cold invites and for people just coming to you, because you are you. And people, I've seen that in my own journey. People relate to that when you just open up. It's something that if it's hard for me to post, that is where I get the most interaction. If it's hard for me to post and then shut my laptop and turn my head, then that's something that I get so many inbox messages and quit. Just like you said, I quit looking at other coaches because I felt like such a failure. And now that I don't do that, it's just freeing to know I'm going to do me. If it takes me 10 years to get to where I want to be, I am providing for my family and I'm helping people along the way. And that is amazing. And so I just thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Like, I was looking at all the faces and everybody is just so tuned in and listening to your every word. So you just lead with so much passion, and, you know, I admire you as a coach and as a friend, and just thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I don't know if anybody, you know, has anything that you want to ask Alida. I'm hoping that you're going to take this information and really, you know, just be authentic and embrace who you are, your imperfections and all, because no one is perfect. And once we realize that and really start to embrace who we are and what makes you you, whether it's mental illness or, you know, the need to feel like you have your life together when you really don't, whatever that is, just embrace it. So.
It's so true. One of the first posts that I ever saw from you, truth, was it was about your marriage. And I was like, I respect the shit out of that girl. Whoa. Oops. I just was like, that girl, wow. Like, that is something that a lot of people are actually going through, and everybody's too scared to talk about it because they fear judgment. Fear holds so many people back from living life. I feel like I even broke the silence in my mommy group. Like, when I opened up about the fact that I was like dealing with anxiety, I've learned that the majority of the moms, you know what, they show up and like their parents and other people are dropping the kids off. It's because they have social anxiety or they're terrified to leave their house. And I started talking about it, and it's opened up the whole world of even my mommy friends, my coaching friends at school. It's like suddenly now they'll call on me and be like, can you pick my kid up? Like, I can't today. I just can't. And it's like, I've made friends that I never would have. I've made friends that I don't like. I met them online, but they're the first people that I turn to when I'm in like crisis. But I've met them online, like you, Mandy. Like, we lean on each other through some of the hardest times, and I mean recent things, right? And it's just, you're not alone. It's so neat. It's so refreshing to finally not give two shits what somebody else thinks.
It is. And it's funny because when we went to New Orleans, like half the coaches that were going were experiencing anxiety, and like we weren't sharing it, you know. And then you go there, everybody felt the exact same way. And, you know, and most of you know that's where I had my breakdown, and I just realized I need to get some help. And, you know, sometimes no matter what it is that you're experiencing, and we always talk here about, you know, we do life together, not just coaching, you know, and if you need help, whether it's with your housework or your coaching business or with your marriage or mental illness, whatever, you just have to ask for it. And that, to me, like, before I actually get better, because my medicine's still not at the dose that it needs to be. It takes a long time to fix this crazy. But just asking for help just relieved me of so much, to, you know, just to know I'm asking for help, and I will get help, and I'm not going to be perfect, and that's okay. I'm going to be me. I'm going to share me. And I just encourage every one of you to do the same thing, you know, and then those that you can help are going to be different from those that I can help, and they're going to be drawn to you. And that's the amazing part of this coaching business. It's so much more than fitness. That's just a small part.
It's true. It's so true.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and